This is the limestone lowdown. Hear the sound when you lie through the issues all around. From every corner, let's make it clear. The change we need is starting here.
Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of Limestone Lowdown. Today we got a very special guest, Mr. Scott Craig, who's running for County Commission Chairman. And before we get started, we want you to introduce yourself and everything. We would like to say that we kind of did an informal poll online and asked the people, who do you guys want us to interview? Who do you want us to see? And our local politicians and who was running was that. And Mr. Craig is the only one who accepted our invite. So
We did. We reached out to Colin Daly and Johnny Turner, and we've not heard back from either one of them. So the invitation is still on the table.
Absolutely.
This isn't us formally endorsing or choosing anybody, but we wanted to give everybody the same opportunity to kind of, tell your story as to why you're running, the things that you want to do as commission, because again, you don't just decide to run because everything is perfect.
Exactly.
And you don't want to I know the term is we don't do mudslinging and things like that, but it's one of those things unless you see a problem, you're not going to run. If everything is so great, you're not going to run. And I get it, we have been controversial in the last couple of years, but if we're just asking basic questions, and so we do appreciate you going out on a limb and sitting down with us.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come. Like I said, I sent out stuff to all the news agencies for my announcement. Didn't hear back from anybody. So, like I said, everybody likes to hear the bad. Nobody wants to hear the good. So,
Yeah.
so I'm, like I said, my name is Scott Craig, and I'm running for Limestone County Chairman. I'm a newcomer to the political office. So I don't see that as a weakness. I see it as a
not
strength
at all. Not at all.
So I've been in this county for generations, and I've called Limestone County my home. I left for the Air Force for 4 years, and then we moved to Mississippi for 3 or 4, and then we've been back here ever since. So I graduated from West Limestone, which is on the other side of the county. I've served honorably in the Air Force. I was an electronics computer technician on the AWACS computer out in Oklahoma City. So I learned discipline and leadership while I was in the service.
Jared believes everybody should have to go into the military.
If you're not going into college and you're floundering, that's not a bad place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I went to college, played basketball for a year over at UAH, and then I got out and I started working construction jobs, and I was just going here or there, and I was like, I've got to get my life together. So that's my brother. He retired from the Navy, so I joined the Air Force and I stayed in 4 years. But like I said, when I got out of the Air Force, we moved back here, and there just wasn't a lot of jobs in the late '90s to support a family on. So we ended up moving down to Biloxi, Mississippi, where my wife's family was from. We stayed down there about 3 years, and then we moved back in 2003. I had a good friend of mine, George Christopher. He worked down at TVA, and he was friends with my dad, and he said, well, what's Scott going to do when he moves back? And he said, he'll figure that out when he gets here. And he said, what did he do in the service? And he told him. He said, give me his resume, and I'll see if I can. So anyway, he helped me get into an interview, and I'd hired on at TVA in 2003 in the instrumentation program. So I did a 3.5-year apprenticeship program with TVA, where you go, the first 18 months is, a little over a year is all classroom. Then you have to work, and you also do oral boards for 8 hours every quarter to make sure you're keeping up with what you're supposed to learn. And then 3.5 years, you're a journeyman, you work down there in the instrumentation program. So that was one of my bigger accomplishments, I think, making it through that program.
Yeah.
So I made a journeyman there, then I made senior, and when I retired in May of 2025, I was a supervisor down there. So I've had leadership at TVA, I've had leadership in the military, so I don't think we need, for this position, we need management, we need leadership.
Absolutely.
We need this group to work all in the same direction, not pulling 4 separate districts in my mind. Yeah. So I feel right now we're pulling 4 separate ways instead of everybody having the good for the county, and let's figure out what's good for it and move on. So as you asked, that's one of the reasons I'm running. I mean, I had a friend of mine down there at TVA say there's talkers and there's doers. Some people sit around and run for it.
Well, and it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, it was hard with Jared running for city councilman, putting ourselves out there. It's been hard doing this because people talk, people say things, and it's not an easy place. So even putting your name on the ballot is commendable because it's not an easy thing to do.
Like I said, and I didn't put my name on there just to be able to talk to people. I put my name. I don't do anything that I don't plan to win. Like I said, I've been told I needed to raise ungodly amount of money to run for this position. I think $250,000 was one of the numbers I heard, and that's ridiculous for local government. There's a lot of good people that don't run for these positions because they're scared of the money.
Yeah.
So I've not taken any money from PACs, anything like that. I'm honest, I put in for one because I actually read about it, and I said, man, this matches the way I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I put in for it, and they said, no, we're not supporting anybody. So I was like, forget the PACs. I just wanted to try it and see what it's about.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've not taken any of that money, and I don't want it. Like I said, I want to get in, when I take office in November, I don't want any strings attached. I want the good of Limestone County is what I'm worried about. We've had issues like our budget spending.
Yes, once you get into that, like what do you see as the issues and what needs to happen moving forward?
Do you want to talk about PACs first? Or you want to talk about that? I don't care.
Well, I'll go into the budget.
Okay.
I won't hit the PACs. So like I said, the budget spending. I mean, if you're not an accountant, you can't take our county budget and find it's all there. But it takes a lot of digging to figure it out. So I feel like we got to break that down better. We got to get it to where somebody can find out fairly quick where your money's going, and that's what people's interested in. You pay taxes, you want to know where your money's being spent. So that's the budget spending is very important to me. The roads, I mean, I've been getting flyers in the mail telling how great our roads are and how much money we're spending. We are paving a lot, but we're way behind. We're way behind. So we've got to put everything on the table about the roads and figure it out. And let's figure out how to fix this. Let's quit just band-aiding it. Let's fix it. The services provided by the county, I mean, the gas services, water. I mean, we have people in Ardmore losing water. We have people in District 2 losing water. We have utilities in Athens. The wind blows. The lights go out around the square when you're sitting in there. I was at a closing one day for a house, and the electricity went out and the sun was shining and the wind was blowing too hard. So we did the closing in the dark with a flash. They were ready for it. It wasn't the first time it happened. We had a flashlight on the table.
Wow.
So that stuff like that, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
We got to fix that. And the work sessions, and I think we need some real community input into that. Because the way the county one works for people that hadn't watched it or went to one, you sign in when you get there, and it used to be 3 minutes, but they'll let you go a little longer now. But you say what you want to say, and there's no dialogue. Thank you for coming. We'll talk to you in between meetings out in the hallway when nobody can hear what I tell you. So that's total baloney. Do I think everybody's going to know every answer on the spot? Lord, no. They're not. So if somebody takes time off work or comes in, because the meeting's at 9 o'clock on Monday, so you're taking off work or you're retired or somehow you've negotiated to get there, I feel like that person that walks in needs, if they're talking to District 1, if they're talking to District 2, 3, or 4, that's who that question should be addressed to.
Yeah.
And then that person either can answer it if they know an answer or have an answer. And if they don't, they'll say, well, I need to do a little bit more research on this. You give me 7 days, I'll be back in touch with you.
And that is perfectly acceptable.
That's
It's
all.
okay to
You
say
say-
I don't know.
It's okay
It doesn't
to
make
say
you
that.
look stupid. It doesn't make you look whatever you think it might.
You don't have to know every answer.
Exactly.
And
Well, and it's just like getting back to somebody. I mean, like, if they say, hey, and again, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I never even thought about it that way, but it's like show your constituents that you appreciate them actually coming to ask the question. Like,
Yes.
this shouldn't be scary. I know that my first city council meeting I went to, I was so nervous. My voice was shaking because it's, people don't like public speaking. They don't enjoy it. You know you only have 3 minutes, and you're afraid, are they going to be mean? Are they going to be hateful? And it's like, hey, let's make this setting welcoming. Like, we want people to come in like these. We get paid because of your tax dollars, right? And so that's perfect. It's like, just make them feel welcome. Like, it's okay to ask questions. It's
Yeah.
okay to email, and let's get back with them.
Yes.
And then they don't. I
And
mean,
then in 2 weeks, say you answered that question for that person, then they're at the end of the meeting where they say, has anybody got anything else? Hey, I just want to let everybody know the
So-and-so
lady
is
that
here.
came in
Mhm.
last week, I've contacted her. She knows everything. She's fine with what we've come up with. So that one's
Absolutely.
we'll move on.
Yeah.
move on.
Absolutely.
Don't just leave it hanging out there, because that really disgusts people.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, and I'm sure a lot of people said it when they run the first time too. But my thing is in 4 years, vote somebody new in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It ain't, we don't get 4 years of training wheels, and then the next 4 years to figure it out, and then after 8 years we go, well, I'm pretty good at it now. Just
Yeah.
you don't know everything, and I will not know everything. But that's part of being a leader. You got to be able to listen. If you walk in the room and you're the smartest one, normally you're in a bad room to be in.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to listen to people and get multiple ideas, and then let's come up with an idea.
Well, I think that back to the military thing, it was like mission, men, me. The mission is number one.
That's correct.
Your people are second, and then I'm third.
Yes.
So, absolutely.
You hit the nail right on the head with that. That's exactly, and I feel like a lot of times, and something we're going to talk about a little later that happened this past weekend, or the past credit for something, because they're running for re-election where they'll have something to send out on that flyer that says, hey, I did this. Ain't nobody in this county doing anything by themselves. So they need to
Absolutely.
quit acting like they're better and above everybody. That chairman is not over that commission. He's a tie-breaking vote.
Yeah.
So he's there to facilitate conversation and get this county moving in the right direction. And that's what I feel that I'm different than them two. Because right now it's just a lot of confrontation between them two. So I don't know if it stays just like it is, how that's going to work for the next 2 years. Maybe it all
Yeah.
goes back to normal.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff being said that it's going to be hard to sit right next to somebody. But I mean, they're professionals. Surely they can do it. But we're not always acting like professionals right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's the main gist of why I'm running. I'm not looking for a career. I'm not looking for 10 years to retire from the county. That's not my goal. I want to, like I said, I want to run for 4 years, and I've talked to some younger. I call them younger. They're in their late 30s, early 40s. When I get a little older, I'm thinking about running for that. Well, they feel like they got to wait till they get to that age. I want to get in there and show people you can fix this stuff if you'll just do it the right way. And if I can't, then 4 years, I won't even put my name on the ballot again. If I get in there and I see that this can't be fixed, I won't ask you for 4 more years to fix it. I'll let somebody else have a try. But I want a younger guy to come along and go, I like what this guy's got going. I want to try to take that and run with it. I'll show him everything I've done, and I'll get out of the way and let him run.
Yeah.
There you go.
I said I'm for the good of the county. I'm not looking for what's good for Scott Craig. That's the way I feel a little different than most.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Absolutely.
So after the budget, so you're talking about the budget and having more transparency. What is something else? What's another thing?
Well, like I said, the volunteer fire departments, I went around and started talking to those guys right when I started running. And I went in and introduced myself, and I came out, and I had an individual come out and catch me getting in the truck. And I was like, man, you could see the passion in his eyes. And this was the first good conversation I had after I decided I was going to run. He's like, he goes, we got to have help. We need this. And I'm like, well, we've got two people in the office right now that could be helping you. Why are they not helping you? Well, they can't do it. Well, why put either one of them back in if they're not willing to help? And I said, all I can promise you, they need more funding for what they're doing. And I said, all I can promise you, because that chairman can't make this decision. I said, but I can put it on the agenda, and we can. These 4 districts can tell why or why not they don't think we need to be funding y'all some money to help y'all do what you do. That's my job as a chairman. We got to put it out there. Is that going to make some people, if they say no, is that going to lose some votes when election time comes around? Probably so. But like I said, we're not running for re-election. We're running that office 4 years. You do what you're supposed to do, and if you do it right, you get reelected. Don't run to get reelected.
And
Exactly.
do you think that, like, because of, I hate to use the word lack of transparency because people get,
I hate that.
people get all in a tizzy when you say that.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about things like this, like I think that we, our first responders, like those are always like the first people that
Yeah.
we want to protect and take care of. Why do you think that it's not being done now? Do you think that it's just like they don't know that that's an option? Do you think that it's like they don't?
I think they're just taken for granted.
Because it's volunteer.
We've had free people do it for the last 30 years, then why do they need anything now?
Yeah.
But see, years ago, you'd see a lot of, and they still do it out there at West Limestone. They have the turkey shoot, and they do different stuff to raise money. But like I said, people's lives are so busy.
Yeah.
They already are volunteering their time to be trained to do these jobs. I mean, when your house catches on fire, you don't want a bunch of novices with garden hoses showing up.
Right.
Exactly.
You want a trained individual that knows what to do to hopefully save your house. People don't understand if these volunteer fire departments are not keeping their ratings up, your insurance is fixing to go through the roof. People forget that.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's just, we got to take care of the people that take care of us, is the way I feel first.
Absolutely.
Those people, we never think about them. We never really, until we need them.
Yeah.
But when we need them, we got to come up the way. And you know what? I probably don't know the best way, but I know the guy here in the city, went to school with him. I know a bunch of guys out in the county went to school with them. How about we get all these guys in a room and they tell us what they need?
Yeah.
There's no reason we try to recreate the wheel. These guys are doing it. They know what they need. And like I said, just instead of, like I said, they get money now from the tobacco fee, and that's diminished over the years.
Of
But
course,
it's still
yeah.
something. And on the revenue side, everybody that owns property pays $30 a year. And if you own about, I think this last year when I talked to the revenue guy, it was close to 800,000 total. But
And is that for the whole
that's
county
the whole
and then
county.
divided
So-
by how many?
so
Is it
there's
12, 14?
departments,
12.
and there's a Limestone County Fire Committee type thing. I forgot the exact name. For 13, so it's divided 13 ways.
Wow.
So that's where their money goes. So 800,000 sounds great. Do you divide it 13 ways, and then everybody.
And see everything that money has to cover.
Yes. So, and I said, I feel like maybe we need to have a line item on the budget. And like I said, this is not something the chairman decides. This is something he talks to, and we get it out there, and we say, hey, these guys shouldn't have to pay for new tires out of that money. This ought to help keep their building going, paying their utilities, doing all that. So have money out there that if people need something, they come to you. Hey, we need this. Just tell you exactly what they need. We need this much money. Give them the money. Let them go do what they need to do. And like I said, that way you have some accountability. We're just not giving more money to the fire department. But like I said, I trust them. But a lot of people like to see exactly where their money goes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing at all. So, like I said, the veterans, being a veteran myself, I don't know if you've ever been over here to the VSO office over here. Well, that's awful that's what we think about our veterans in Limestone County. So I took Matt, the guy that's the VSO, I took him up there. He didn't even know where they had the meetings at. He sent emails out, got nothing. I said, well, come on with me. I'm running for chairman. If you show up with me, you'll get some attention. So we walk in and he told, hey, I've got asbestos here in my building. I need this fixed. Long story short, about a month later, that new carpet, new ceiling tiles, new this, new that, new paint. It looks better now. If you go in there now, it's not something you'd be embarrassed to walk into.
Yeah.
It's funny that we kind of said something about that and kind of he got chastised for saying something the first time.
Really.
So I'm glad to hear that now it's been taken care of.
And it was sad. They had the doors that had the louvers in the bottom
Mm-hmm.
that went to the offices. So when people are talking to veterans, they don't want everybody to know it. So most people are just wanting to talk, and they asked for new doors, and the county wouldn't give them new doors. So I just went out and bought them new doors and said, "Here, put the doors in. This is stupid."
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just. I mean, like I said, the veterans are important to me. I don't say that just because I want a veteran to vote for me. I am a veteran. I'm proud to be a veteran. So I'm gonna talk and listen. A veteran comes to talk to me, he's got my ear.
Absolutely.
Somebody's gonna have it every time.
So with the asbestos, have they cleaned that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to go watch that one. If you have not watched that one,
The county commission meeting?
yeah, that was almost comical. They had somebody come in and there was good asbestos and bad asbestos.
We watched that.
We watched it.
And this is the good asbestos. As long as you don't mess with it, everything's fine.
And then it turned into basically, it's okay. We'll see about it. And then, hey, the Veterans Parade is next week. Are we all gonna ride together? Oh, we watched it. I thought it was.
Because it was
That was
crazy.
slap in the face.
I had to be.
It was.
Amanda, I had something ready to go, and Amanda's like, you don't need to do that.
'Cause they
I was
were,
like,
like,
that
straight
kind of like rubbed me the wrong way.
Because it was basically like, sorry, we're not going to do anything because it's the good asbestos. But yeah, the Veterans Day parade's next week. Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like,
How could you do
Yes,
that?
yes.
How could you
Yeah,
ignore
yeah.
that man and then in the next breath, like, let's go ride the Veterans Day parade?
make sure and get
Makes
our-
you feel warm and fuzzy, doesn't it?
That was the same one that we were going to get a study for $100,000
Yes.
for the tree limbs hitting combines. too.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, I was there.
We watched it. We weren't there, but we watched
Yeah,
it.
But like, and when we had the little podcast with the Chamber of Commerce, they asked us about the growth of the county,
Mm-hmm.
and I spoke about a little about this during the meet and greet that they had at the Veterans Place. But like I said, that growth that we've had, that started before the current administration's in there. Polaris started in, I think it was 2014, and Mazda was 2018. So all of that was prior to this. We want to take credit for it, but that was all in the works. That just didn't happen overnight. So I think my statement was, I said, when you ran in 2018, you ran on transparency and accountability in the roads. And here we are in 2026, and we're talking about transparency, accountability in roads again. And I said, no other job market do you get 7 years to get something right. If you ain't good by then, you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
So and I really feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take credit for 7 years of growth when everything started before you. I mean, there's some stuff coming in now, but maybe I'm just looking at the facts too close, but I think all that growth happens no matter who's in that seat, because
We're very desirable.
where people are coming, and like I said, once people start coming, then word of mouth gets around, and
Yeah.
hey, this is
Absolutely.
not a bad place to be.
Well, if you look
Mhm.
at location, we're close for 65. Like, it's
Yeah.
easy to jump on the interstate to go north, south, east, or west. It's right outside of Huntsville, and you've got, I know the Arsenal, like Space Force is coming.
Yeah.
I know more FBI agents are coming. The growth is coming,
Yeah.
so it's
If we're
not
really-
about taking
I think-
credit.
I think and you mentioned it, I think that's a great segue into saying, how do you feel about the big A word, annexation and Huntsville and all that? What's the plan on that?
Well, like I said, the easy answer is what you hear every time now. Well, it's their land; they can do what they want to do. I have
Mhm.
no say so.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel that way. like I said, I believe since 2018, we've had over, I think it's 1,300 acres been annexed since 2018. So I want to find out the why. Why are we losing? Why are people feel like Huntsville coming and annexing them in Limestone County is better for them than staying? What am I not doing that makes you want to go that way?
Exactly.
If I'm the chairman and I'm losing part of the county I'm over to a city in another county, that to me that's a blow toward me. I'm not doing what people want, so they don't feel like I can fix it, so they're going somewhere else to get the answer. So that's how I feel. I don't feel like I said, we gotta, like when we talked, you gotta draw a line in the sand somewhere. And that when you draw a line in the sand, that doesn't mean we're trying to stop growth. All right? It means deciding what's going on in Limestone County is still our decision. We're not just saying, I can't do
It's
nothing, keep
Huntsville's
coming
now.
down. It's Huntsville. So I believe, like I said, I believe the county wants a chairman that's looking at that instead of running around for ribbon cuttings and cutting ribbons and taking pictures 6-7 times a day. And that's part of it, I'm sure. But I'm not getting in there to run around and take pictures, because I even said that in the meet and greet. I'm not out on the weekend looking for pictures. I'm out coaching my AAU basketball team at my business I got. So I'm not the fact I don't want to be there, but I'm running a small business. I can't be there. So we got to figure out how to slow down, or let's have that conversation with Madison and Huntsville. What's the end game here? Because I looked on that 256 today, and it was, I believe it, December 4th of 25. They got a video on there, and anybody that hadn't watched it needs to watch it. It was eye-opening to me, and maybe some people's already seen it. They had a study they did in 2011 for Western Annex Land Plan.
Uh-oh.
So that was in 2011, and it shows the design and where all land they're looking at, and it was 9,323 acres.
Of Limestone County. Ooh.
So the new plan that they did in 2025, it says 45,000 acres and 20,714 acres of unincorporated Limestone County.
My gosh.
So we just can't sit here
Yeah.
and watch this happen. Okay, I can't.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I've talked to farmers. Some people have sold. Some people say they never sell. It's out. There's a whole way of looking at that. And like I said, I don't have land over there, so I don't know. But if we don't think Huntsville's not going to come the other direction,
Yeah.
if I wanted to live in Huntsville, I wouldn't live over at West Limestone.
Exactly.
And I think people in Athens, if they wanted to live in Huntsville, wouldn't be living in Athens.
Well, and I think that was like at the mayoral forum that they did last summer. It was a candidate forum, but Danny Whitfield made the comment that we need to get ahead of the curve, that Huntsville has like 4 elementary schools or 4 schools that are going on Limestone County land. 4 proposed schools that are going to be Huntsville City schools that are on Limestone County land. And then there's just so many, I don't want to call it problems, but it's like if we're already planning in the future, and then now you're talking about this 45,000 extra acres that are going, that's their plan. That's what I'm saying. This doesn't start today.
Yeah.
They started this 30 years ago.
They've got more plans for Limestone County than I'm afraid we do.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
And then
Yeah.
they made the comment too that there is more land annexed into Huntsville than the size of the city of Athens. And so
I've even seen where it said that Huntsville by land mass is the biggest city in Limestone County now.
yeah, well, I believe it.
To me, that's sort of embarrassing.
Well, I feel like we had a great opportunity. They did that Leading Limestone earlier last
Yeah.
year,
Went
and
around.
it sounded great and wonderful, and then it's just
But
like
where's it
crickets
at?
now.
Well, I've talked to people that they had a 40-year plan that come out in the 80s. That we should be finishing up that 40-year plan right now. Where's that thing at? The person that's telling me about it said the 40-year plan was like that thick.
Well, I'd be interested to see what the plan was
Yeah.
back then
I
to
would
see.
like-
Yeah, I would like to say
love
that as well.
but,
Because I will say that the city of Athens has like the 2040 plan, and it does evolve. I mean, they've kept up with it since we went back to like 2013, and they've done the amendments. And right now, it's the 2040 plan. But I will say that Athens has got. Whether I agree with all the decisions in it or not, it's all there.
Exactly.
Well, we don't even know where
That's all-
Limestone County.
That's all you can ask.
Right, right. Whether you agree with it or not, at least
Yep,
it's there.
At least it's there.
There's a plan,
There's
at
a
least.
plan. But yeah, they're with Limestone County. I didn't even realize they had the 40-year plan, but it should be expired.
It should be. Yeah, it was in the 80s, so it's over. So maybe that's the reason we started leading limestone.
Maybe.
Like I said, I did not go to any of those. I did answer the questionnaire thing, but I never went to them. And then I haven't really heard anything more about that. And maybe something's going on behind the scenes. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
And
there
hopefully-
is.
Well,
hopefully-
we're paying the company.
Yeah,
And
so maybe in November when I get elected, that'll be something I can look into, figure out what we're doing with this.
Hey, they were talking about bringing the kayaks on the elk. I was like, ooh, I love that idea.
So, like I said, that's my biggest thing on annexation. Like I said, it is the property owner's right, but we need to find out what we're not doing.
Well, there's always a happy medium
Yeah, there is.
between.
Yeah.
It can't just always be the Wild West. Well, it could be if you didn't have Huntsville in the background. You know what I mean? But in Huntsville and what they're doing, and they're coming. You have to be like, we have to find the happy medium between you can do whatever you want to with your land, but like you're saying, why do you want to be part of that?
Well, let's
I
talk
think that's
about
perfect.
Yeah,
with
what-
Arthur Orr though too. So you have to go outside of your county. The county does. It's like you're saying. If you're the smartest person in the room, that's a problem. You need to go to a different room. You have to go and seek resources down in Montgomery, other state senators, people that can help you support a bill that's going to protect, and it doesn't prevent you from putting a pole barn on farmers' land, but it can put other restrictions and parameters on that land, or to help make it more desirable to be annexed or to stay in Limestone County. Or if we're going to annex it into a city, let's annex it into a city that's within our county at least, So,
That makes way too much sense. Way too much sense. But you got anything?
I was going to say, do you have anything else? Any other major things or problems that you see?
Yeah,
Or
like I said, the stockpiling probably maybe not be the best word, but the $30 million surplus.
yes,
Where in the world did we come up with a $30 million surplus in 2 years? Something ain't right. If you're doing books for a company and you got $30 million and what you thought you was gonna have, somebody's. I don't know exactly where all that $30 million come from, but we got it, and we talk about.
you talked about the abatements
the
that
other
were falling
papers,
off
but
too.
see, I don't even think those are in there yet. The one for Polaris, the 2014 one may be, but I don't think the Toyota Mazda. I thought that was 10 years. I could be wrong. I don't know all
I
this
know
for
that
fact.
for Jared and I know that whenever this gets put out there, people will crucify us talking about the dump trucks, and they will go on the complete defense and say that da 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 da. But I will just give you from a bird's eye view, from Amanda's perspective, that we've done a lot of records requests in the city trying to piece things together. And when we saw that these dump trucks were for sale, and Jared was like, why are we selling brand new dump trucks that have like 4,000 miles on it? So we're like, let's do a records request, because they said they've been doing this for like 5 or 7 years. Okay, mind you, this was the first ever records request that we did with the county. The first. And when it came back and it showed that we were losing money, and then I felt like it kind of went on the defense that it was for this, but we did the math. Like, we're like, we are literally losing money. And why are we buying brand new ones every single year? Like, you don't go buy a brand new car every single year.
you're leasing dump truck, but it goes deeper. It goes back to what you're saying about that surplus money.
Yeah.
That not only we're leasing these dump trucks, we're paying interest because we don't have enough to purchase them outright, but we're missing out on matching deals from the state. We can't. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll help you with that. we'll give you 200,000, but you have to put up 100,000. But we're having to tell them no because we don't have the $100,000 match. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying we shouldn't have a surplus. That's great. You should have your rainy day fund. But if it's 30 million, that should be 10 million, and that 20 million should be out there available for any and everything. Because, like you're saying, the good times are here right now. That doesn't mean they're always going to be here.
Well, gas is $4.50 a gallon, so the bad times could be coming. And I think that it's like we're not even, and I think that you agree with this. Like nobody's trying to say this is how we should do it. But how we're doing it is not best practices. That there's always room for improvement. Because again, with the dump trucks, we're like, y'all, we didn't go looking for this. We saw that we're literally selling brand new dump trucks, have 4,000 miles on them, like
Or less.
Or less. Why in the world did we think that this was a good program? And then when we asked about it, Colin did say, "Oh, we're not going to do that anymore. We've got the dump trucks we like now." And it's like, well, who sold you that this was ever a good idea, that we're replacing brand new dump trucks every year? Again, that was the first ever records request. It wasn't trying to make
Now, granted, we didn't lose. It started like pre-COVID. We could get them. The regular businesses couldn't get them. We did make a little money along the way, but we lost a whole lot of money on the end, and it's kind of like,
right, like
we
when
need to
you
pump the
couldn't go
brakes
buy a
on
car,
this.
right? Like it was during COVID when you were everybody. If you wanted a new car, you were having to custom order it, and you were having to wait 9 months because nothing was out there. We were making a little bit of money then because we were able to get them because we were on that program. But then it's like now that we've kind of caught back up. But again, I don't think that. But that was just our first.
Yeah, that was the very first
experience
thing
with the county.
When was that? What year did you remember? When y'all did
Last
the
year.
Oh, was it
Last
last
year.
year?
Yeah, last year we had
Okay.
the meeting
Because
about that.
they put them out.
Yeah,
They did the silent bids on them
Yeah.
over across from Cream Delight,
Okay.
and you could go by there.
That's what caught our attention. You see 10 brand new dump trucks sitting there. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I think that they ended up only selling because they have to make a certain amount, and only 2 ended up selling. But then the rest of them will go to that
The
auction.
wholesale auction.
Yeah, the
Shell
whole-
deals or whatever.
No, the wood. I think it's wood. This big sale or whatever. But they're getting 6.5% to sell them.
Commission.
And then we've paid. I'd have to look at my numbers again, but we've paid, let's say, $40,000 in interest on it, and then we're having to pay to sell them, and then we're having to pay to clean them up, and then we're having to pay somebody to drive them down there, and it's like, it's got a 100,000 mile warranty on there. I get it,
Right.
getting rid of it before the warranty runs out,
But
but
4,000
4,000 miles, you could run that for years.
And we're buying and getting new ones, so it's like we don't ever outright own it. We're just constantly making
Wow.
a payment. But
So
Anyways,
yeah. Anyway,
I have seen them talk about that during the meeting, but I didn't do that much digging on that.
oh no, we sat down.
I
We
did.
had it all. We were
I
like,
assumed that was breaking even, or you were not doing preventive maintenance. You were selling it before a certain maintenance was due that was going to cost
exactly.
make it where it was
I mean,
money ahead.
Exactly.
And like I said, I don't know all the details, but
right, yeah, and we don't. I mean, and we're not even saying that the numbers that we're saying are absolutely factual.
Well,
but
that
it's
you
like-
just think that's what caused us to
but
think.
that's
Okay,
you
what about
do
a
have to look at that.
like is there a county shed? Is there like a shared like there where we can fix them where it makes more sense to keep some and fix them versus continually buying? It's just all kind of questions. It's just you see a bunch of dump trucks across from where you're going to get ice cream. It's like, what's going on? And then it
Because
just
that's we.
Yeah.
that's how
But they said we're not doing that anymore.
no,
Okay.
apparently
yeah,
not.
Yeah. So I don't
We'll-
know.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah. So we'll see this
We'll see
summer,
this
right?
come-
Exactly.
We'll see 'em out there.
Exactly.
But-
And then there was another thing that I think that we've seen a lot over the last, because we started diving into like campaign donations and seeing that. I know that within like the local municipal elections, there was one particular PAC that controlled a lot of the finances within the municipal candidates. And that same PAC seems to be rearing its head again here in the county. And the irony in that is that it's North Alabama PAC, which is ran by Steve Raby, who is a longtime Democrat. And considering that the three of y'all that are running are all running on a Republican ticket, and you have now it is dark money because, I'd say it's dark money because You have state, I mean, they were heavily involved in like the mayor of Birmingham's election. I know that there's been other, like Catherine Robertson, who is running for attorney general. She's gotten a lot of money from them.
The governor.
The governor. So I know that it's not just the PAC, right? It's all these businesses that are working behind the scenes.
Because they don't want to be identified.
Yeah.
They don't. And so this particular PAC has given to your opponents, both of them. One of them drastically more than the other one, because you have to, I think, submit your stuff by like the 4th of every month on FCPA. And the current chairman just got $19,500 more from this North Alabama PAC. So can you talk a little bit about your opinion with the PAC donations?
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Limestone Lowdown, where we break down the issues, keep you informed, and give you facts straight from the source. Remember, your voice matters, your vote counts, and your community thrives when we stay engaged. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay involved. Until next time, keep questioning, keep advocating, and keep shaping the future of the Limestone area. We'll see you on the next Limestone Lowdown.
I mean, that just seems crazy. let's fix the roads. Let's figure that out.
I
Let's
wish
don't
we
putting that same group in there. You can't expect being at the roads where we could have a
know that anything's going to come of this, but
agenda. And
And I've said that every time. And I'm
Exactly.
Emails don't fix